Okay, so hi guys, my name is Arsh. I am support engineer at Soft Solutions. Today I'll be covering ManageEngine's Desktop Central. Our main focus for today's webinar would be patch management, but I'll still go over the other features for Desktop Central as well. With me, I believe David will be joining me in this webinar. And David is our senior solutions engineer, and he will be assisting me in the Q&A session, which we will have right at the end of the webinar. So any questions, feel free to pop them down in the question or the chat area, and I'll be happy to go over them right at the end of the webinar. So Desktop Central. Desktop Central is a browser-based interface which provides a central point from where an administrator can manage all the tasks that are related to desktop management. This console can be accessed from anywhere. For example, can be accessed through a LAN, WAN, and from home using the internet or a VPN as well. Desktop Central's network neutral architecture, it really helps administrators manage computer that have Microsoft Windows installed in them, irrespective of the network setup. The network setup can be an Active Directory or Microsoft's novel e-directories, work groups, remote offices, roaming users who's always on the road, or even multiple domains as well. There are 4 different editions for Desktop Central. We have free edition. This edition allows us to manage up to 25 desktops and 25 mobile devices for free. We have a patch edition, which provides us features related to patch management and associated Windows system tools. We have Professional Edition. This edition allows us to manage a certain number of computers. It comprises all the features of Desktop Central except the bandwidth management feature for remote offices. And the last edition is the Enterprise Edition, and this edition has the same set of features as the Professional Edition. However, it has the bandwidth management feature for remote offices with distribution servers and few extra capabilities on top. So the features of Desktop Central. And Desktop Central is a complete Windows desktop management solution, and it provides software deployment, patch management, asset management, remote desktop sharing, service pack deployment. We have Active Directory report, user logon reports, and so on and so forth. With Desktop Central's, like I mentioned before, network neutral architecture, the administrator can easily manage Active Directory, workgroup, and novel e-directory based Windows networks. The desktops being managed, they can be in the LAN or distributed across WAN. And the mobile device management, that is an add-on, and that add-on is available on all the editions discussed before, and it comes at an additional cost based on the number of devices managed. But we'll strictly focus on the desktop side of the Desktop Central today in this webinar. So the first feature we're going to look at is software deployment. Deploying multiple software to multiple systems manually is a time-consuming task, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me. And especially when we have to perform software deployment as a part of desktop management routine. Also performing tasks such as software installation or uninstallation without an automated software really involves complications that might consume our effort and time. Desktop Central really enables IT admins to distribute, install, update, and uninstall software applications remotely as well as automatically. And of course, we can also run pre and post installation scripts, which are fully customizable as well. To the right of the text, you will see a little diagram. So the initial steps of how software deployment actually works: you install the agent, which is a very lightweight, non-intrusive agent. You create a MSI or an EXE package and you deploy the software, you can deploy immediately or schedule deployment, and you just view the status, how it went. So let's go and have a look at software deployment in Desktop Central. I'll just go and sign in. There we go. So this is the home tab for Desktop Central, which pretty much summarizes what's going on through your network. So we're going to look at software deployment first. As you guys can see, straight off the bat, we can see that these are the packages, or these are the softwares which are, which are readily available to deploy. In order for me to deploy them, I'll select all of them, install. I'll choose computer configuration. I can name it whatever I want. These are the packages. I can schedule them for tomorrow whenever I want, and I can assign a policy to them as well. And in Target, if I want to deploy them to a whole domain, and all I need to do is just choose the domain SoftSol and deploy. And if I want to, I can of course filter it down to one machine as well. And if I want to only deploy it to my machine, and I can do that as well. All these packages will be deployed to my machine, and yeah, that's software deployment for you. And of course, the same way you can uninstall softwares as well from any computer which has an agent running on them. There are built-in templates as well in software deployment, which are provided by ManageEngine. So I'm sure you can see Adobe Flash Player is there. We can see Mozilla Firefox for Mac. We can see Skype for Macs as well. And if we want to deploy all of them, we'll select all, we'll create a package, and the package will appear here. And we'll choose that package and deploy to the whole domain, to different OUs, different sites, or even one single machine. And that's how easy it is to deploy software from Desktop Central. Now we'll look at patch and service pack management. Software has become an essential part of our business today, starting from the operating system to the business applications that we use. They really accomplish various tasks on a day-to-day basis. And our role as IT admins don't really stop with procurement and installation of these software. We have to ensure that these software are periodically patched to mitigate the risk of them becoming vulnerable to attacks. So every software vendor releases patches and security updates to fix the vulnerabilities from time to time. Desktop Central's patch management, Desktop Central's patch management helps us to automate the deployment of patches to the systems in the network to keep them healthy and less vulnerable to any sort of attack. So this is the main idea of patch management, and we really need to make sure that the applications or softwares are fully up to date. Desktop Central, in addition to automating Windows patches, also helps to deploy patches to third-party applications as well. And this is what it separates from most of those patch management softwares out there, guys. Desktop Central, so third-party patches such as Adobe Flash Player, Adobe Reader, Mozilla Firefox, we got Google Chrome, Apple QuickTime, and many, many more. I believe you must have, or you might have heard about Microsoft's SCCM, which is System Center Configuration Manager. That is a great piece of software, and it has come a long way, but it only does operating system-based patching, whereas Desktop Central does operating system patches, which includes Microsoft, Linux, Mac, and it also does third-party patching as well. As you guys can see on the right of the text again, install the agent, we need to scan computers, and that scan computers will send a list of patches which are due in patching. And from the dashboard, we see view missing patches. We install the patches or deploy patch do automatic patch deployment. and we just see the reports and see how it went. Let me show you how easy it is to deploy patches from patch management. There we go. So now we'll hit the patch management tab. So over here we see that a bit of summary of what's going on in the system, system health summary. We can see that they're highly vulnerable systems, there are 18 of them. So I can go to all systems on the left. Over here I can see highly vulnerable systems, and I can see there are so many 121 operating system patches are missing, and we have third-party patches here as well. All I need to do is select all. I have selected all the machines and deploy missing patches. That's how easy it is to make your machines fully up to date and secure them from any sort of attacks. So we click on deploy missing patches. There are a lot of patches here, guys. You name your task anything you want, and of course you can install or uninstall patch. I'll scroll down right at the bottom, and of course you can add more patches. You can schedule, just like we did for software deployment. It's fairly similar. Deploy a policy. These are the machines that it's deploying to, and if I don't want it for my machine. And enable notifications if you want a good report at the end of the day, and deploy. That's how easy it is to make your machines fully secure, again, from DesktopCentral. So we looked at a highly vulnerable system. Let's look at all patches. So this will show us a patch view, and as you guys can see, all these patches are missing patches from the machines. We can select all of these patches, and we can go install patch. Now that we have selected all the patches, and I'm sure I'll get to the approved status in a bit, and we choose a schedule, choose a destination if we want to add more machines, and deploy. So so just in 3 or 4 clicks we are deploying all the missing patches to the machines that do require attention. Where it says approved status, we have approval settings in patch management. So what DesktopCentral allows us to do, it allows us to test and approve patches before we deploy them to the whole network, which is really, really helpful. So either we can approve patches manually or automatically. If we want to approve patches automatically, DesktopCentral will approve tested patches after X number of days, and X number could be 5, 6, 10, 20 days, and will automatically move those patches in the list of approved patches. And of course, you can do that manually as well. Just go to the device and see if everything's going good. And it's a really important step before deploying one patch to the whole network and then realizing that patch wasn't stable enough. So the approval policy, it really, really helps before deploying patches to the whole network. And of course, we can automate patch deployment as well. So let me show you how this patching actually works. So over here, you can see this diagram. I'll be going over the site 1, which is on the left first, and then I'll get to site 2. So site 1, we see a DesktopCentral server. So this DesktopCentral server is located in the customer site. For example, that could be the customer's head office. This server enables the completion of various desktop management tasks to help administrators manage computers in the company's network effectively. Some of these tasks could be installing the agent in computers in the computer's network, could be deploying configurations, could be scanning for inventory and patches, or even generating reports. We see these agent 1, 2, and 3. The DesktopCentral agent, like I mentioned before, is a lightweight software application that is installed in computers which are managed using DesktopCentral. It is installed automatically in the computers in a LAN. So how does patch management really works? How does it find out that, what patches are due? What are some missing patches? On the top left, you can see that there's a patch repository or a patch database. So this patch repository is a portal on the ManageEngine website. It hosts the latest vulnerability database that is published after patches has been tested. So the DesktopCentral server, it synchronizes this information periodically, which is a 90-minute refresh, and scans the computers in the network to determine which patches are missing. The patches that are missing are installed in the computers that are missing them. And the communication between the DesktopCentral server and the patch database, it takes place either through a proxy server or through a direct connection to the internet. The required patches are downloaded from respective vendors, websites, and stored in the DesktopCentral server before deploying them to the computers in the network. And this is where you can actually do your, your approval settings and test it out before deploying to the whole network. And then at the end, the agents copy the required patch binaries from the DesktopCentral server. We also have Active Directory on the left. So in an Active Directory-based domain setup, the DesktopCentral server gathers data from the Active Directory to generate the reports for sites, domains, OUs, computers, and groups. This enables administrators to access all the information that is stored by the Active Directory. So now we'll come to the side 2. So DesktopCentral also supports managing of computers in a distributed setup, like branch or remote offices, in sort of like a WAN infrastructure, and for mobile users, for example, salesperson who are constantly on the move. So DesktopCentral Distribution Server is a lightweight software that is installed in one of the computers in the branch offices. This agent will communicate with the DesktopCentral server to pull the information for all the computers in that branch. The agents that reside in that branch office computers will contact the distribution server to get the information available to them and process the requests. So this is how really patch management works in the backside. So if we look at the diagram right here in site 1, the patch repository sends a list of latest patches to the DesktopCentral server. A DesktopCentral server goes back to the agents and see if they are fully up to date or not. If they are not, the DesktopCentral server gets the patches of third-party or Microsoft updates or patches from their respective repositories or databases and stores them back in the patch repository and sends them to the agent when we want them to. So this is how patch management works. Now let's look at asset management. DesktopCentral's inventory management module, it provides the hardware and software details of the devices in the network. It enables us to manage the software licenses and detect any sort of unauthorized software that are being used in the network. So in the software side, it does license management, license compliance, and software metering. In hardware, it makes a list of hardware manufacturers, hardware types, hardware installation per user as well. It also does automatic uninstallation of prohibited software. You can make a list of software which are prohibited, and it will automatically uninstall them as well. And it also provides out-of-the-box reports on hardware and software inventory. Let's have a look at inventory for DesktopCentral. Let's go to the inventory tab. It shows us a summary of what's going on, the audit summary as well, and computers by OS. Here we can see computers, list of all the computers. And of course we can change it to a pie chart or a bar chart, which is really good. And we can filter these by domain, OUs and sites as well. We show us hardware, we have software, and inventory is really detailed as well. Like I mentioned before, prohibited software, we can of course do that, and we can even block executables as well. So that was asset management. Let's have a look at configurations. So with over 25 predefined configurations for users and computers, DesktopCentral enables configuring and managing desktop from a single point. we can configure almost all the regular desktop management activities with ease. I mean, it really makes it easy to do all the tasks. I mean, all the generic tasks we do end up doing on a day-to-day basis. The web-based user interface allows us to apply the configurations to a single or group of desktop using a powerful filtering capability. And configurations can be applied during either user logon or computer startup. So let's have a look at configuration in ManageEngine Desktop Central. So I'll go over to the configuration tab. So these are the configuration which have been executed or not by me previously. There are built-in templates, like I mentioned, the 25 plus built-in templates, and they keep adding them. And of course, you can request more configurations from ManageEngine direct as well. Over here, the first one we see is auto-locking PCs, and there are many, many more. I mean, we have 69 right now, and there is disable a control panel as well. And I mean, if you don't want to give the user admin rights to make any sort of admin changes in your machine, you can disable control panel for them, disable automatic updates. And these configurations really make it easy for us to deploy to whole domain or even in particular machines and see how they actually work, and makes us easy rather than us remoting in to the machines and doing that manually. So, and of course we can have a good look at configuration reports as well at the end of the day. So that was configurations. So a few of the solutions with Desktop Central. Users can install patches, doesn't matter if it's Microsoft or third-party patches. We can automate regular desktop management activities. We can standardize configuration of OS and application across different networks. We can, of course, secure desktops from wide range of threats by keeping them up to date with patching, by deploying patch policies, and by actually automating patching process. Troubleshoot day-to-day problems with configurations, which are the 25 plus configurations provided by ManageEngine Desktop Central, and audit our IT assets. So Desktop Central is an efficient software in scanning IT systems and spotting system vulnerabilities and potential flaws. So guys, that was Desktop Central for you. Any sort of questions, feel free to pop them down in the question or the chat area, and I'll be happy to answer them. I'll try my best to answer them. Hey Mito, any questions? Any questions you have regarding ManageEngine Desktop Central? Feel free to write down in the question or the chat section at the bottom. Yes, that is the preferable. So the question is Desktop Central Server a must in the network? Yes, that is correct. It has to be in the network. It has to be in the network, but you can access it from outside as well. It is a web-based console, so you can access it over VPN. If you're not, you don't have to be, and you don't need an agent to access the web-based console. You can, I mean, you can log into any machine which has the right connection, like I said, VPN, and you can still access the web-based console. Can the agents be password protected to restrict users from uninstalling? It all, I believe, I am not too sure about the answer, but it all comes down, you can also change the user account, so you can also manage, like I said, if you disable the control panel, the users can't uninstall the agent in any way. So, I mean, if you have disabled control panel for the users, they can't go to the uninstall program, or they can't uninstall a program in a different ways. And of course, you can log, there are, I'm sure there are more predefined configurations to take an account for in this case, but from top of my head, I am not too sure. I can definitely get back to you with this one regarding can the agents be password protected to restrict users from uninstalling, but I'm sure there are ways around it. That's correct. The product is definitely customizable. Let me show you if I go to, there we go. It is definitely customizable. Over here you can put your own color, branding. You can change the color, like it's a darkish color. You can of course change that as well. You can change the font color. Yeah, it is fully customizable. You can change the logo, and you can change the company logo as well, which pops up on the top left. If you see it here, right here, you can change that as well. But yeah, it was great to have you on board. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mirul. I will be ending the meeting now. Thank you. Bye.